The first ever NBA Finals game to be held outside of the United States will take place Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern from the Scotiabank Arena. But before that, let's take a look at these two teams. The Toronto Raptors, down 0-2 to the Milwaukee Bucks. The series looked over, but the Raptors rallied and nailed off 4 straight wins behind performances from Kawhi Leonard and Fred VanVleet off the bench. On the other side, the two-time defending NBA champion Golden State Warriors, without Kevin Durant, swept the Portland Trailblazers, Steph Curry putting in 30 points plus in each of those 4 games. With more on the breakdown between these two teams in the NBA Finals and the series, let's go to Karan, Pierre, and Mark.
Thank you. So since we're in Toronto, let's start off with the Toronto Raptors. So Mark, the Toronto Raptors defeated Milwaukee Bucks 4 games in a row, which Bucks hadn't lost in the entire season before that. So now they're facing the Golden State Warriors. What do you think the Raptors need to do much better so that they could go on and win their first NBA Finals?
Thanks, Karan. Yeah, so the Toronto Raptors are in the NBA Finals for the first time in their franchise history, and the city is absolutely electric, and Jurassic Park will just be a zoo for Game 1. So, you're right, though. What do they need to do to knock off the two-time defending champs? It's going to be a task much more difficult than Milwaukee, than Philly, than Orlando. So it all starts with Raptors and ends with Kawhi Leonard, the superstar. Is he the best player in the NBA? This playoffs has really brought that into a debate. He is a star talent, and everything is going to revolve around him as it has for the first 3 rounds. The key with him, though, is that how much is he going to be able to get the other players involved? There's so many other guys in the team. Some have played well, some not so much. He's going to have to get these guys activated. Danny Green is a huge factor for the Toronto Raptors. He has missed plenty of his shots against Milwaukee, and he's going to have to step up if they want to beat the Warriors. Fred VanVleet, Marc Gasol, they started to play much better in the closing 4 games against Milwaukee. They're going to need to keep that energy if they're going to want to knock off the two-time defending champs. But it all starts with their superstar Kawhi, and after that, they just got to hit their shots and play the defense that they know they can play and that they've played all playoffs long.
Right. Thank you, Mark. So now, that was about Kawhi Leonard, and now about the Warriors. They have plenty of superstars in their lineup. So Pierre, who do you think would stand out in all that lineup that could actually, let's say, beat the Raptors on his own?
I would have to say Steph Curry for sure, especially in the absence of Kevin Durant. I feel like Steph Curry is the player that's going to really show his worth in this series. He's never been in the Finals MVP, and I feel like this is his best opportunity to get that name for himself. And I feel like Klay Thompson's going to have to step up after his poor performances recently. With Durant out of the lineup, that's 35 points missing, so that's a couple more buckets for Durant that he's going to need. And Draymond Green, he's been probably the most impressive player in the series, in the playoffs for Golden State so far this year. And I feel like his defense will have to be very key once again. He's leading. He led the team in lots of stats last series against Houston, and I feel like he's going to have to do the same kind of lockdown defense on Kawhi if they're going to want to win. And I think that it could go down to a 3-point contest. You know, both sides have shown that they're pretty good from behind the arc. So I feel like if it does, Golden State should be favorites. But I feel like Curry is the player that will really pull the strings for Golden State.
So now we talked about both the sides and their key players, and now talking about the betting odds. On odds, Warriors are the favorites to beat the Raptors. So Mark, in your perspective, who are you predicting to win this finals, and in how many games?
I'm going to have to take the Toronto Raptors to win the series, and I'm going to tell you why. It comes down to the home court advantage. It's just huge. And for that exact reason, I am taking the Raptors in Game 7 in Toronto to win the NBA Finals. And who else for Finals MVP? Kawhi Leonard.
All right, thank you. And what about you, Pierre? Who do you think will win and how many games?
I'm going to take the Toronto Raptors in 6. I think they'll win it at Oracle Arena because everyone talks about how Golden State are very good at home, but we saw in Game 7 against Cleveland Cavaliers when they were scoreless for over 4 minutes and they ended up losing in Game 7 at home. So I feel like Toronto, especially after what they did against the Milwaukee Bucks, winning a game on the road there, I feel like they have the character to actually go to Golden State and get a win. So I feel like Raptors in 6 is a good chance to happen.
All right, so there are the predictions from 2 of our experts, Mark and Pierre. For me, it'll be Raps in Game 7. Back to you guys.